Hey guys, Tales of Turam here. I am here today with Thogg. If you want to say hi,
Hey,
he's going to be playing his character Thogg. His name is Wahoo, but eh. So yeah, we're going to be playing a Thogg side session today, and it's going to be going over basically what happened after he had escaped Black Web's. Yeah, I don't remember what the town was called anymore for some reason, but the first town on the outskirts of Blackwater when he was captured by Lady Blackweb. We already did a side session together, and he had already escaped it, just barely, with Sedekar, with a ship that they had just randomly thrown off the side and hoped it worked. And yeah, that is where we last left him. Is there anything you would like to say before we begin?
I think so.
All right, then you ready to begin then?
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn you up a little bit because you're kind of quiet on my end.
Oh,
There.
I can also not turn my volume, but my sensitivity a little bit. There we go.
Yeah. All right. Gonna turn it back down to 100 then. All right. So last time we had Thog. He was with the party when they were attacked, and he did some serious damage to the enemies attacking the ship. However, as they were upon the Crimson Dawn ship, the party was overwhelmed by the black webbed pirates. And is there something happening in your background, Thug?
No.
Okay, because I keep hearing. Uh. Anyways, they were overwhelmed by the black web pirates. Thog and the rest of the crew went downstairs while Captain Blackwater threw an explosive potion at Lady Blackweb, who then threw him into the fucking ocean. Um, Thog, along with Sedekar, eventually decided to push out from the prison they were being held in the ship of the Crimson Dawn. Um, I keep hearing talking in your background, Thog.
Oh, hold on. I realize what it is. I can keep going.
Okay. Um, After they began to push through, they fought against Rachel, the first mate of Lady Blackweb's crew, barely succeeding in knocking her unconscious during the scuffle. They managed to escape outside of the ship and begin to look for an escape off of the large mile tall wall. They eventually found a ship and began to lower it down with the anchors and the winches, or the winches, sorry. Lady Blackweb noticed this and cut the winches chains, and the ship began to freefall. Thog and Sedekar managed to just barely survive the encounter as the ship landed and was nearly destroyed, but they were able to repair it enough to begin to set out on their own journey towards Agaburst, hopefully. This happened, let's see here. I gotta count the days because stuff happened and then they got pushed forward. So that would have been the first day after the week countdown. So that would mean you were at 6 days and you're currently at the end of the third day before. So that was 3 to 4 days ago in game. I can't properly do math so at the moment. So we're gonna say 3.5 days. At this point, he had set out, and that's where we're starting today's game with what happened then. All right. Now we're just waiting for music to start. And of course, it's not wanting to start. There you go. So,
Magic technology.
and now you're like underwater, man. You're like,
Am I?
yeah, for some reason it was like that when you weren't talking directly in the mic. Anyways, so, as the sun has set already and night is starting to grow much more damp and dark as rain pours and the sea becomes rough with wind hewn from the clouds above. The Mithril Sea is not a kind place at night, especially not around the area of Blackwater. As Sedekar is not a ship captain, and he yells out above the bustling storm, Thogg, if you've got any way to and he like almost goes running. He almost goes flying off the ship as he grabs onto one of the small ropes. I don't think either of us are a captain, are we, Thogg? If you have any way to steer this ship, be my guest.
And Thogg, gripping to probably one of the masts, since he only has one arm to wrap around it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Calls out, well, the steering wheel might be a good start.
Yes, but where are we going? As another wave hits the ship. Lightning strikes.
Somewhere that's not here. And he'll try to get over to the rigging and pull himself towards the back of the ship where the steering wheel is.
So as you begin to move in the storm, just roll me an acrobatics check, please.
Acrobatics. Okay. I think that was a +8. Just be sure. Okay. My character sheet just keeps crashing every time I open it.
That doesn't sound good for the next session.
No. Hold on. Okay. I can do it on my phone really quick. Maybe it won't crash there.
Bro, we had a 4-hour session last night.
Is that how? Oh, yeah. When I joined in, it was already like...
It was 3 hours when you
11?
joined in.
Yeah. Okay.
Remember, you don't need to roll in chat. I don't care. Let's start rolling on natural 20s and shit like that.
Okay.
Hello?
Sorry, just... it's coming up now. There we go. Jesus. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I'm just gonna have to go off of memory for this one. I'm pretty sure I don't know a bunch of his attributes, but I'm pretty sure his acrobatics is a +8.
Okay.
Either way, I rolled a natural one, so it's no big deal.
So, as you begin to rush through the ship, as one of the waves hits the ship nearly buckles under the strong wave with the damage it's sustained, and you go flying. Here's the problem. I need you to open your stat sheet because a natural 1 is bad, so you're going to have to make more checks.
Okay, wait. It's working all of a sudden now. There we go.
So, as you go flying through the air, unable to really right yourself, I need you to make me an acrobatics check again.
I was wrong. I leveled up, so it's +10 now.
Technically, your character wouldn't be that level right now, but it doesn't
Oh.
matter.
Sure enough. Okay. Then, 30-20.
30-20. All right. At this point, as you're flying and you're about to go over the edge of the back of the ship, you see one of the ropes that's tied to the last railing there has frayed a bit, but the rope has pushed on. Well, a bit of the rope had some stuff on it on the back, hanging from the back, but that stuff has fallen into the ocean already, and you manage to grab onto that rope and pull yourself up onto the back of the ship as another wave hits it. Lightning strikes directly behind the ship where you would have landed if you didn't grab that rope.
Yeah. Thogg will...
Sedekar goes,
Almost...
impressive! And he gets hit with a bunch of water spraying onto him. Because at this point, Thog, what are you doing?
Um, he'll kind of spit in the general direction of where the lightning struck and continue to try and pull himself up towards the steering wheel. Try and get the ship righted, even though he doesn't really know how to do that.
Okay. You get up to the steering wheel as you push past a few barrels that are moving past you. You grab onto a few of the small riggings. There's some rope, some steering wheel. The steering wheel has a small compass next to it that's really shittily, like, it's broken glass and, like, copper on the back. This is probably one of the ships that they were working on
Hmm.
recently, and you know that because they hadn't fixed it fully just yet from its previous ventures. The copper is kind of turned a little bit green in color, and as you're like getting up to the steering wheel, you try to move it, and it doesn't seem like the wheel is moving at all. If you'd like to make me a general investigation check.
Investigation. I'm sure there's no. Okay, I'll do this one then. 5.
Bro, what is with your low rolls? 5. You could try to force it, but the wheel's not moving. There's gotta be something that's stopping it from moving, but you're not sure. Maybe the rudder is broken, maybe it's not connected, you're unsure.
Well, I think Dog's gonna try to force it. That's what Dog would do.
Okay, roll me this would be just a straight strength check.
Street.
This is some nice. This is some. It's not. It would be nice wood. This looks like a merchant's vessel that was turned into their pirate ship through taking it over. It's nice wood. It's a nice wooden steering wheel. It's circular, very nicely carved. Instead of like these square, just like circular pegs in it, it has these nice pegs that come out to like an almost oval or like a plug shape at the very ends. They have these small caps where you could tell there was probably very precious metals put onto like the 12 different pegs for the what's called the wheel itself. But those were probably taken off when it was taken as a ship. And you could tell that it's probably been it was probably at sea not too long ago for quite a while because you could see parts of the wood on the steering wheel are rotting a little bit. But go ahead and make me a strength check.
21.
21. You managed to uh, break whatever was stopping the wheel from moving. As you see this metal pin that was affixed into the back of the wheel itself suddenly rolls off the ship as you manage to now get the wheel moving. As you push it up, the wheel starts to spin rapidly as the waves are buffeting it back and forth. You manage to get it to stop in place, but this is not a. At the moment, with the waves hitting it and whatnot, it is more of you. If you are going to try to steer the ship, it's going to be more of a finesse thing because you're trying to get it righted before you face against the waves. So right now your ship is moving, sure, but it's getting buffeted left and right. It's getting turned to its side. You're not sure. Like the compass is spinning in weird ways, in different patterns. So at this point, the steering wheel is free.
Okay. Well, there's one thing Thog is good at. It's finesse. So he's gonna try and get this thing facing the right way.
All right, as you get to try to pull the wheel, your strength is fine for this. As you start to pull the wheel, push it, turn it however you can. Go ahead and make me just a general. This would be a dexterity check because you're not proficient in ships.
Okay. 17.
17. You're getting it righted quite a bit, and you notice, had you failed that, you're probably going to start to run aground on a small island you had not seen before. As you pull it to the left, and you see these small rocks popping out of the water, and you get the feeling you just barely succeeded in riding the ship as it starts to move forward a bit. And as you notice this, you see the island has a small cove, and you can see a ship flying in the color of the black webs comes from the island and starts to, because they have patrols around their islands. And
Yeah.
everything. You're still in their waters. And you see one of these ships starts to move, and you start to hear gling, 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 and you start to see people moving on the ship, drows, and other creatures are moving very fast on the ship, and you can see a few of their cannon deck windows are starting to open. Sedekar goes, "That does not look good. What are we gonna do?"
Hmm. Oh man, now there's a spell I really wish I did pick because it's such a specific spell, but it would have been so good. Uh, I'm trying to see how much light a major image can produce. Okay. Um, essentially, what? Actually, that wouldn't work. Dog's not good at smart plans. He's gonna keep trying to steer the ship
All right, so
in the opposite direction of
well,
them.
they're not coming directly
Or
towards you. They're
are the
side
waves
by
kind of
side with you, basically.
buffeting in such a way that doesn't work?
Well, here's the problem. They are parallel to you. They're like a good 150 feet off to your right side, and they are moving in the same direction as you. Of course, they're moving a little bit closer to try and head you off, but they're still parallel with you. So it's going to be hard to go away from them.
You wouldn't happen to know how to lower the sails more, Sedekar?
They're as low as I can get them. I can... And you see the sails are completely full, and they're being buffeted by the wind in different directions, so the wind's not really helping. It's moving in weird patterns.
You're a wizard. Can you give us wind?
No! I'm not a wizard!
Thogg throws a blunt dagger at him for that.
It goes wide off as a wave. First, maybe you should maybe you should get us right against these waves! At this point,
Well, I'm trying.
The ship is starting to careen off course again. You are starting to fight the waves, so I need you to make me a strength check.
Okay. Oh. 6.
Alright. As you're like, I'm trying, suddenly a huge wave buffets the side of the ship. And the ship doesn't barrel roll specifically, but you could see that you get knocked like 30 feet down this large wave, and splash next to the ship. You're about 120 feet from them as they release a volley of cannonballs at you. There's going to be 3. Because that's all the... Natural 20. Okay. Alright, so... 3 cannonballs go. One of them goes straight over your head, while the other 2 hit into the side of your ship. Your ship is going to have... Let's see, it's pretty damaged. At this point, I would say your ship has about 250 health left. Okay. So let me roll these in channel here. Roll for the first one. So the first cannon that hits, that is 40 points of damage to your ship. So if you want to keep track of the health, please.
Yeah.
And then for the second damage, it's 68. One of them just rips straight through your ship. You see Sedekar go, "I'll fix that!" And he starts to run down to the cannon deck to fix it. You see one of your other cannons just explodes and falls out of the ship. You have cannons. It's not all manpower.
Oh, that's... No. And it usually takes 1 or 2 men to use one of those. Kind of... Okay, so it's...
What's going on, Thogg?
Oh, I'm just writing down the Was
So
there a roll I needed? I'm just writing down them.
no, you took 104 damage to your ship.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So, as the waves are buffeting you and the cannons are firing and hitting your ship, multiple volleys are hitting you. What are you doing?
Um. Well,
The other ship does
Sedekar's
get
worrying
closer
about
to you
repairing it.
about 50 feet, so they're about 70 feet from your ship. They're about to head you off. As you're pushing past to try and get past them a bit, you can see that there's just open water in front of you, but there's multiple large rocks sticking out of the water. If you wanted to, you could try to run them into one of those. If you wanted to, you could try to outspeed them. You're not sure if that'll work. Try to sink them, but they look like they've already repaired their ship and stuff.
Okay. I think what Thog is going to try to do actually is, now that they're closer, he's going to try to create a major image, sort of like on their along their course of heading him off,
Mm-hmm.
of a small little 20-foot cube patch that looks like more of those rocks jutting up out of the water.
Okay. What's your spell
Try and
save
get them.
DC?
It is 15.
Bro, they've been rolling fucking high. Yeah, no, it's not gonna work. You get the feeling. They seem to be focusing on you, and they see you start to somatically cast a spell, and then suddenly a rock formation appears in front of their ship in the middle of the
It
ocean.
was worth a shot.
Yeah, so you see them just barrel through it, and nothing happens.
Okay. Well,
At this point, you can hear over the winds,
bull,
"Ready!" You have a few seconds left before another volley
bull-headed,
comes.
bull-headed dog is going to try to run him under the rocks.
All right, go ahead and make me a strength check as you start to turn your wheel to, because they were about to head you off and maybe hit the front of your ship. You are about to broadside them.
Yep.
All right, so as you guys are moving forward, go ahead and roll me just a strength check against their strength check.
12.
They rolled an 11. 7 plus 4. So, as the ship is hit, they're like, "Hold! Fire!" And you just see, you hit the ship, and you just hear, so let me roll for the cannons with disadvantage.
It's okay. Now it'll hurt them just as much.
Oh my god, all 3 misfires. So, as you hit, the ship gets knocked back, and you just see the explosions of cannons from their cannon deck, but you just see the cannonballs go flying out their top deck and just past your ship. Maybe one of them hits your sail, but just bounces off it.
Nice.
As you watch as the ship is then rammed into a into a jutting pair of rocks. Where's my rolls channel? The 3 cannonballs did deal. Hold up, we'll roll 278. 58 damage to them, and then roll 14d8. Technically, I'll just do that. Okay. You see the ship is being torn through by these cannons, and then it hits the rocks for. Let's see here. It'd be. Yeah. Okay. You see the ship is being torn through by this heavy move. As the ship is stuck on the rocks at the moment, it's going to take them a few seconds to probably burst off of it. Actually, no, sorry, because it's still moving forward. I'm stupid. You see the ship itself is being torn through by the rocks, and it's going to take heavy damage each turn until it's off the rocks. Anyways, at this point, you look over and you see the Captain Drow is staring at you, and he's looking down, and he just pulls a fucking revolver and takes a shot at you. Well, not a revolver, but a flintlock. What's your AC?
16.
He shoots, and the bullet whizzes by your ear, kind of just grazing and cutting cutting one of your sideburns.
Aw, that's fucked up. He asked for it now. You don't fuck with a man's sideburns.
All right. At this point, if you'd like to roll initiative now.
I roll that in chat.
Yeah.
7.
Okay. Their crew goes first. As you see, the ships will move on their own on the turn, but if you want to try to bash against the waves or bash them, you have to roll checks. So, as the ship begins to move, you see him start to reload, and he starts to shout out a command in Undercommon. I don't think you speak Undercommon, right?
Thogg does not.
All right. Yes, oof, Erman, and you see the rest of the crew starts to. You see a few of the crew members start to curl their sails a bit as they begin. If you see the captains begin to pull to the left to bump your ship a little bit to the left to get off the rocks. If you'd like to make a strength check for me.
Strength check. Natural 20 for 23.
Okay. As he tries to move, your ship pushes more weight onto them as they run the rocks again. Okay. You see their ship is taking heavy damage, and the captain shouts out another order. And you see someone starts to a few of these drows start to lift an anchor to drop it off the side of the ship to hopefully get them into a better position. Anyways, the captain doesn't seem interested in you at the moment as he finishes loading his flintlock. It's your turn.
Alright. Thogg is gonna go for his classic mirror image. And then he will go to leap, we're right up against the ship still, right?
Yeah, but your ship is moving forward.
Okay.
And theirs is not. Well, theirs is moving very slowly because it's pulling against rocks.
He's gonna try to get up on the other ship. He's gonna try and reach for something. Jump up there.
Okay. You reach to the other. Well, make me an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics, right? 18.
18. You manage to get over to the other ship. You're pushing up against them, basically, so you just jump onto the railing and then jump onto theirs. As your ship begins to slowly move forward, what are you doing?
Alright. Well, that is his movement and his action, so he's gonna get up there and just sort of look menacing with the 3 other Thoggs.
Okay. Your ship moves 30 feet forward. You've basically just abandoned your ship, just so you're aware.
Oh, I know.
You rush after it. Alright. Captain's turn. He's gonna shoot you. Because you're about 20 feet from him. Okay. Yeah, your AC was what again?
16.
Okay, he hits you. Oh wait, you gotta roll for it. Go ahead and roll for your mirror image.
Oh, yeah. Is it D? It was a 17. What is the roll again? 6 or higher. Okay, so yeah, it hits.
Okay. One of your mirror images disappears.
Okay. Does he
looks
fire
at you,
again?
You see, he just seems to cock his eyebrow for a second, starts to reload his gun. He gives another order. The anchor drops. Your turn.
All right.
The wind is pouring, and the rain is pouring, and the wind is high. Remember that.
Wind is howling. Okay. Thogg will charge forward with his, or drawing one scimitar. You can only draw one, right?
Okay.
And depending on if is the captain within 30 feet of him, I guess I should ask.
He's within 20, yeah.
Okay. Then he will rush forward and begin kind of wildly swinging with the scimitar. He's not as calculated right now.
Go ahead.
All right. His first attack is a 17.
17. That hits.
Okay. I don't have any D6s in front of me, so I'll just have to. close. All right. So the first attack is 9 damage.
The first attack slashes through his hand and it comes off. It's like, "Ah, ah," and he's not dead, but he's very close to.
And then
Blood just starts pouring out.
the next is a 27.
That
Natural
is
20.
over a critical.
Okay. So you want me to just roll 1d6 and then
Yeah, just roll
multiply
1d6.
it?
That's
Okay.
how to do criticals.
Okay, so I thought multiply it.
Alright, you fucking cut his head off. You cut his hand off, and then as he grabs onto it, basically falls to one knee, he just slices his head off immediately. There's no even screaming anymore. You've killed the captain. There is a ship of like 30 people.
Okay. Well, killing the captain usually kind of sows some chaos. So he'll pick up that fancy whatever the captain was shooting him with.
The flintlock?
Yeah.
It's
Not very
basically
fancy, but
it looks like a piece of like mahogany wood that was maybe used as an ornamental piece by a sailor or something, and it's like it has a nice unlike how people make stupid like square guns now, basically they look shitty. It has this nice almost butt rest to the back of it, and it almost looks like an S shape instead of like a nice curved C shape. It's a little bit rotted from sea travel, and it has some nice silver to it, and you can see that it is a black powder loading system. It is not a load a bullet in and shoot it. It's a black powder quick load thing. Well, you have to push it in, the bullets and whatnot. You don't have any bullets for this thing, but you do have a flintlock that was halfway loaded before his hand was cut off.
And does the captain have a hat?
No. Well, he has a normal, like, tricone hat, but not a captain's hat.
Oh, then it's not worth it. I'm assuming the ship is out of reach now. His ship.
Your ship is about 60 feet forward. It's getting near the end, like it's about halfway down this ship that you're on at the moment.
Okay. Then he is going to now rush to jump back on his ship. Captain's dead.
You're gonna have to like run on the side of this ship to jump to your ship, just so you're aware.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get onto
Might
the
fall
railing
off.
and begin to. Go ahead and make me an acrobatics check, please.
Okay. 27.
27. You begin to run, and even though it's slick, a few individuals start to pull out their swords, and you do see a buccaneer, a long coat, a tricone hat, and they seem to be pulling out a hunting rifle as they take a shot at you. But you jump to your ship and grab onto it. You pull up, and they're going to take a shot at you as you pull yourself up onto your ship. Natural fucking 20. What the fuck, bro? Okay.
Give me the damage.
As they shoot you, as you start to pull yourself up onto the back railing of your ship. Oh, God. How much health do you have?
77.
Okay, you take 36 points of piercing damage. Sorry, give me a second here. 18 plus 5 is 23. You take 46 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
As you feel a bullet just rip straight through your back, barely missing your spine and straight through your stomach outwards towards the front. I'm going to roll for your ship really quickly to see if it's run against the rocks in front, because it is pushing past towards the front of the ship now, and it is getting to the front as it was pushing to the ship, so it could angle it into the rocks itself. It does not angle into the rocks. It was 50-50 chance. You see that it gets towards the ship and just butts off once more. But I'm going to roll to see what happens with that bullet.
Okay.
The bullet does hit and break a part of the steering wheel, but you're not sure if it was an important part or not.
I'm not sure if anything's an important part or not, except for the sails.
As you stand up, blood is just pouring out of your wound now.
Yeah, I'll have to worry about that later. That's just kind of how it goes for Thogg.
Mm-hmm.
The
ship is
to the steering wheel.
Forward. Okay. As you get to the steering wheel, the ship is now starting to be pushed by the waves towards the rocks where it was managing to move away from at the moment, but the back of the ship is now being pushed towards the rocks because no one's been steering the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would like to get up there and make me a dexterity check to right the ship again.
All right. Oh, these are always the important ones. Are always the okay. That was a 11.
11. You go to right the ship and fuck, you hit something important. you the ship is about to crush into the rocks. If you'd like to make a quick investigation check to see if you could fix whatever it was.
Okay. Oh wow, I got lucky with the natural 20 because no bonus on.
You look and you see the musket ball is just funny enough, where that small pin was to keep you from turning the wheel, it seems, the musket ball shot and its momentum stopped it as soon as it entered into the little area, and it's too big to be, it's too big for the actual small tube, I say tube, but tunnel in the back where the pin is put into the top to stop it from turning the wheel. It's too big for that area, so it broke the tunnel and itself lodged in there. And a mechanism is now stuck. If you would like to try and pull it out, you can, but you are running the risk of running rocks.
I'm not sure how else to avoid hitting them, so yeah,
Okay.
try to do that.
Make me a... This is a sleight of hand check, because you're trying to pull something out very quickly and delicately and deftly.
Okay. That is a 22.
22. Alright, you managed to... you take out one of your scimitars or one of your daggers, just ping! The basketball hits the deck of the ship. It's too big for your flintlock, mind you. But it's good for a hunting rifle if you had one. It rolls off the ship a bit. At this point, you now have complete control of the ship, and we're going to see if it runs rocks. It is getting very close to running rocks. If you would like to try and make another riding check of dexterity.
Yeah. That is a 19.
19. You managed to just barely turn it in time. Let's see. Yep. Alright. You managed to just barely turn it in time, and it just barely taps into the rocks, so go ahead and reduce the... Well, mark down one more damage on the ship. Anyways, so as your ship begins to push forward even further, you're nearing the... You're in the open sea, but there are rocks and small islands. If you would like to just roll me one more dexterity check, because you technically have stopped the other ship, and we're just going to see if you're able to continue to make your way from this point.
Okay, that was 15.
15. You do take a few more hits, so I would say 20 more damage to the ship, but eventually you do find yourself out of the Blackwater territory. And after about a day's worth of travel, you do find a small tropical island within the area of the Mithril Sea. Well, sorry, you find calm waters. As day is beginning to break, Sedekar approaches you. Well then, Thogg. It's been quite the start to our journey. I don't know why I was saying journey.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, our ship is pretty damaged. We should probably anchor somewhere and find some wood or other things to repair it as best we can. Should we not?
Well, I'll let you know as soon as I figure out how to drop the anchor.
Oh, I can do that easily.
Then yes,
All right.
I agree.
Well, keep a lookout for any tropical islands, ports, or whatnot that we can stop at, then.
I'll do my best.
All right.
No spyglass.
As the sun is coming up, if you'd like to make me a perception check.
Oh, I am professional now.
I don't know. 13.
It takes a few hours, but eventually you do find what looks to be a suitable island with palm and even more trees, a small hill, like a pretty large mountain, sorry, not a small hill, in the very center of it. Very jungly, with a few palm trees near the beach. It seems to be an island that you can't see any life on, but it does have materials if you would like to try and stop at it.
No life materials. Okay. Um. Yeah, we need to fix the ship as soon as possible.
Alright.
Stop there.
So as you begin to pull up towards the shore, Sedekar begins to pull the anchor out, and as you begin to pull up towards the shore, you do see what seems to be wood splinters, shipwreck pieces, upon the shore of the island, and you see what seems to be a tangled up mess of seaweed surrounding something on the shore as Sedekar drops the anchor. Sedekar calls to you. Do you see that, Thogg?
Yes, it looks like a
Interesting,
bunch of
isn't it?
seaweed.
Well, what's it coating?
Well, we can go find out. It's would disembark. Or, sorry, not disembark. Once we're anchored.
Well, we are anchored. Anyways, I've been thinking what we might need for the ship's repairs, and I've written down some paper I found, and he hands you a piece of paper. You're gonna need this much amount of materials for the ship at least. Because I'm not a carpenter, I'm going to need quite much more than would usually be necessary.
Well, I guess I'll get started.
Alright.
Don't really have time to waste on rest.
So you push down the gangplank, which does rest. The gangplank for the ship is affixed to a small axle. Instead of like just being a gangplank you put down, it like is able to fold outwards, and it rests its base in the water, so you can pull things onto it from the water. As you begin to head towards the island, you get onto the island. What is your first task here?
What was that last bit?
What
Sorry.
is your first task on the island?
First task on the island? Okay. First task, I guess, since it's the closest thing, is just go uncover that seaweed.
Alright, you go up to the seaweed and you can see that it is currently wrangled around what seems to be a humanoid that is unconscious on the beach.
Unconscious humanoid. Okay. Do they have any, like, markings or clothing of any kind that look like they're associated with any kind of faction?
Well, there's a heavy amount of seaweed surrounding them. You're gonna have to brush it off. Make me an investigation check.
Okay. 8.
Can't really tell. Their face is in the dirt. Can't tell if you've seen this person on wanted posters or anything like that. Their clothing is just soiled and broken from the sea, tattered from what looks like fire or something.
Okay. Thogg is going to at least attempt to pick them up and put them over his shoulder with his one hand.
Okay.
And carry them back to the ship and just put them on the upper deck and call out for Sedekar.
Wizard,
Yeah.
come figure out what to do with this one.
Alright. Looks like they were burnt a bit. Let me go ahead and administer some aid. And they're going to start to do medicine checks on the individual. Because they are still breathing. Thankfully. Well, it seems the wounds have... Are you going to go back to the island, or are you going to wait for him to do his medical check?
He'll wait for the check.
It seems his wounds have, though recently, been healed, strangely enough, by magic. He has been burnt, as we could tell by the clothing, and they are breathing. And he pulls a bit of seaweed off the face, like brushes some sand off. Oh, well, I'll be damned. Thogg, we know this individual, as he points down to the individual, and as you look down to the face, you do recognize the face of Captain Blackwater, of the Crimson Dawn, who got knocked into the ocean a few days ago.
Old friend.
Well, we've struck gold here, a ship captain.
Yes. More valuable than the wood, I think.
No, the wood's still necessary.
Oh, well, of course.
He's a captain, not a mason.
Yes, but his value is great to us. That is all that matters.
True. Well, anyways,
And-
I will figure out a way to wake him up if you would like to go collect some materials for us.
Yes. And he'll draw his scimitar and head back down onto the
Alright.
island.
So, as you begin to head back down onto the island, I will ask you, because the materials you need are like about 100 pounds of wood, a bunch of plant fiber. How much? Roll me just a general dexterity or strength check to see how much you can. Actually, no, it would be survival to gather materials. Roll me a survival check.
Okay. 9.
9. It's been a few hours, and so far you've only found a bit of suitable wood for the material. The palm trees aren't good wood for the material. There's something about the wood on these trees on this island as you've gone deeper into this jungle-like area. The wood itself is very sprayed with water and moisture, and it's very hard to find dried trees. So you found enough plant matter or plant fiber to repair the sails a bit and get everything started going again up that way, but you've had a hard time finding wood. I will say you're about a good few hundred feet into the island of the forest of it, so maybe about 600, 700 feet in. If you'd like to go deeper, you can, but you get the feeling it could be more dangerous.
He'll circle back around and keep looking for wood as he does, but he's gonna try and get to where those shipwrecks were and see if he can find any usable wood.
Well, the shipwreck was more like bits of wood that had washed up on the shore.
Okay.
As you go back to check those out, if you'd like to make an investigation check for anything that might be useful.
18.
18. You do find a few pieces of wood that are probably suitable, not enough to fix the ship, but it makes good headway. And you do find what seems to be the shipwreck seems to have washed up quite a bit ago, and it seems to have a chest in it. An old chest that is covered in barnacles and very silted. Looks like it's going to be hard to get open, especially without the key, because it is locked.
Well, maybe being at sea so much, the wood's a little soft. I don't know. He'll try to bash through the top hilt of his scimitar.
Make me a strength check.
All right. 6.
Okay. You hit against it, and you do see this shimmer of magic shoot across the chest. It seems to be magically protected.
Okay. Fun. Is this the kind of chest that is not one that you would pick up? Big old heavy one, or is this something?
Oh, it's like a pirate chest. Big old heavy one. It can be picked up, but it's still heavy.
Okay, well, luckily we're in sand. I think Thogg will just drag it.
Okay. You begin to drag it by the handles on the side. And as you do, it's leaving a dent in the sand. As you begin to drag it, you do hear this sound. Actually, no, you do feel a little bit of resistance. You see a skeletal, mummified hand is holding on to it from the other side that seemed to have been buried underneath the sand where the chest was held. Probably just through time. And it seems to be holding on to the other side and try to pull it. Its hand is stuck to the chest at the moment and it's not letting go. Would you like to try and pull harder?
Yeah, first. That's what he'll do first.
Okay.
And pull harder.
Make me a strength check. Actually, an athletics check here.
Athletics? Okay.
I will say, the skeletal hand, the rest of the body is buried in the sand.
Okay. That was 12.
12. You manage to pull the chest a bit further, and you get the body halfway out. It is garbed in pirate garb. A coat, an undershirt, a sash for what seems to be a weapon that's still buried underneath the sand, an eye patch on the skull, and a captain's hat with a large beard that seems to have stayed in the skull somehow.
Well, I think now he'll get over to the other side of the chest and try and get the body up out of there. Skeleton.
Make me an athletics check.
All right. Another 12.
All right, you manage to pull the rest of the skeleton out. As you do, you see it has a peg leg that's completely rotted. It does have a scimitar within its sash, and it is missing a hand on its left hand. It was holding it with its right. The skeleton, as you do pull it out, pieces of it do fall out of the clothing that's holding it together, and you hear as it falls apart a bit.
Yoda scream.
What did you say?
And then the Yoda scream. But he's gonna. I don't know if Thogg is superstitious enough to think anything of this pirate skeleton. So he's just gonna reach for that scimitar.
Okay. Do you pull out the sash then?
He's gonna try and take the sash and the scimitar.
Okay. The sash is like across its right shoulder and down. It's a leather strap that holds it in. It's not an actual sheath. It seems to have the scimitar blade completely out in the open. It just holds it there. Yeah.
Okay.
As you pull the sash off, the sash is just a normal sash. It's old and weathered, but the scimitar itself is, as you pull it out of the sash as well to look at it, it is barely touched by age at this point compared to the body. As you're looking at it, it has a little bit of barnacles growing on it. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't have barnacles growing on it. It has a little bit of rust on some of its edges, but not enough to really damage the weapon. It's just almost like... It looks like it's only been here for maybe a few years, while the skeleton definitely looks maybe a few hundred old.
Okay.
And as you're looking at it, the blade itself is this beautiful seafoam green color. And it almost shimmers in the daylight. And you see these striations appear at different angles when the light hits that seem to almost make wave-like patterns across the blade. The scimitar's handle is this beautiful leather wrapping that is not affected by its age as well. And the handle is it's a stereotypical pirate sword handle. It goes up on one side and down the other, and it curves. And that is made of a beautiful aquamarine kind of colored metal. And the very pommel of the blade itself comes down to a pyramid almost shape with an emerald green.
Beautiful.
Looking at it, definitely a magic item.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he will let the wizard learn more about it later on. And for now, it's quite convenient that there was a sash here, because now that he has one arm, that's probably the best way to sheath his sword. So he's gonna put that sash on over his... He kind of has something like a sash, but it's not one that's very tight. Wouldn't hold down a sword. It's more like silks just wrapped around him, and some of them are kind of
this is more of a leather one. Like you know the Lego sashes that you could use that are just like a square hole for like a sword to go into. It basically looks like that, but it has some round edges to it rather. Okay. It's meant to be. You get the feeling it's probably an ornamental kind of thing. But it has seen use. So it's a sash that can be used ornamentally or normally. It's meant to go around one shoulder and down to the other one, down to the hip on the other side, and it's meant to have the blade put into there. And it does fasten any blade that you have in there pretty well, as long as it's not a very thin blade like a rapier. And it fastens it nicely, but it just shows the rest of the blade on the other side. It's maybe about, I would say, 3/4 of an inch for the sash that covers the blade at all.
Okay. So he's basically just going to have this sash go across the opposite shoulder of his silk ones and just slide the sword in there.
Okay.
And continue trying to get this chest after kicking the captain's hand off the handle.
No problem. You kick it off the handle, and you begin to pull the chest back to the ship. Unless you want to keep it for yourself.
Nah.
Okay.
I'll take it back.
So, as you pull it up to the ship, Sedekar goes, you don't see the captain anywhere on the ship deck, and Sedekar goes, well, it's been a few hours, have you collected, oh. Well, I don't care. goes the wood search?
Well, I found a decent amount, but not enough yet. I thought I'd bring this back, just in case anyone else stumbled across it.
All right. Well,
I'll return with your wood, don't worry.
all right, no problem. Just remember, we have a few days of travel ahead of us before we get to Agaburst, friend.
Yes,
Hopefully,
yes.
with the winds in our sails, because I do have... Actually, I can't control the sail. And he just said earlier he can't control the wind. Hopefully, we can get there faster.
No. With a captain, maybe.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping. He seemed very confident in his control of ships when we talked to him. Anyways, I'll go help the captain begin the repairs if you would like to. Actually, as you go out, because you seem to be having a bit of trouble, and he summons his familiar. Take my blue eyes with you. He'll aid you in your search. And it floats over to your shoulders. Anyways, I'm gonna go make sure the captain's alright. And you can open that chest if you want. And he walks away. Or he begins to walk away.
Maybe I can. Actually, I don't know why I didn't think this. He'll try the same thing again, basically, but with his new scimitar.
Okay. Go ahead and make a strength check with advantage.
That is now an 18.
18?
Yeah.
You hit the chest. The same magic goes off. You get the feeling you could probably break it open. But it's going to take a lot more time.
Okay. Well, time is not something he has a lot of right now, at least not in this very moment. So he's going to go and start collecting more wood, and as he leaves, he's going to sort of just mumble to the little familiar, "Have you ever tried collecting wood with one arm?" Yeah. It sucks.
Anyways, so as you begin to try to find more suitable wood, go ahead and make me a survival check with advantage.
Alright. 14.
Alright. It takes you another 2 or 3 hours, but eventually you get all the wood you need. And it's a good thing, too, because you hear strange... from deeper in the jungle.
Sorry. I was talking to my roommate. I
Bro.
missed that.
You hear strange noises from the jungle
Okay.
after you collect enough wood.
Okay. Strange noises from the jungle. He'll whisper to the familiar again. "Would you care to see what that is, or should we go?" So he can just fly.
You can't speak with this familiar. It does.
Oh, I don't know. I know I can't understand it. I thought maybe it could understand.
Yeah, it can understand you, but you don't know what it'll see.
Oh, I know. That's fine.
Are
It can.
you sending it off to look at whatever that was?
Yeah, basically, if it's dangerous, it'll probably be able to at least communicate that much to me. Like, hey,
All right, it goes
you're
fluttering
like just
off.
screeching. Okay.
How are you pulling this wood back to the ship?
How am I pulling it back?
Mhm.
With my one big arm. Or here, I don't know how long it would take him, but Thogg would probably honestly try to build like a little sled for it. Just get some random pieces of like wood and leaves, and take some rope he has, and just make a little thing to pull the wood along.
Okay, as you do so, make me just a general survival check.
Okay. Natural 20, 22.
You make one pretty quickly, and eventually the familiar does land on your shoulder as you get all the wood lodged up and slashed onto the or stashed onto the sled, and it is visibly distraught to the point where it's like, we should probably get going.
Okay.
To this point, you start to hear things running in your direction.
Okay.
Twigs
The
and
Thogg
sticks
will
breaking.
Thogg will do the same. He'll run.
All right. So as you begin
With
to
the wood.
run and you begin to look back as you're running, you see facets of humanoid creatures, but large and elongated. You can't make out details, just shadows as they chase you from within the forest, seemingly giving chase to you. Eventually, you push out of the forest, or the jungle, I should say, and as you do so, you start to run towards the water, and as you start to run into the water, you do see one of these creatures breaks through the canopy. This 15-foot tall creature with slender arms and legs. As it runs, it looks like a stretched Native American. It has this weird Majora's Mask kind of look to its face, and its eyes, the eyes in the mask are glowing. Magical runes start to pulse on its face as it suddenly takes its hand, both its hands, and reaches and grasps its left thumb, and as it does, it pulls back. And as it does this, you see a spectral lance appear in one of its hands as it pulls, takes it, and throws it at you. That definitely hits your AC. As it does, you suffer 3 points of force damage as it hits you in the back as you manage to get up to the gangplank. Zendikar goes, "What the fuck is that?"
Kill it. I don't know.
You see about 10 more starting to come through the brush.
Get down to the cannons.
Alright, and he starts to go down to the cannon deck. It's gonna take him a few turns. Do you pull the wood onto the ship?
Yeah.
Alright. So you pull on the ship wood, and you pull it up the gangplank as the creatures start to make their way to the edge of the shore. And they start to slowly, but faster than you did, step towards the gangplank. You get onto the top of the ship and you start to pull the gangplank up. One of them is going to reach up and try to grab it. Okay, he grabs it, so I need you to make a contested athletics check.
Since it's contested, I'll roll it in.
Oh yeah, since it's contested, I'll roll it here too. Yeah, it's not like I already rolled it and decided I want to roll higher.
I rolled the same thing in Discord as I did on the physical die anyway.
So as you pull it up, you see its slender fingers, which are like each almost a foot long, just grab onto this. It just slowly starts to pull it. As you're struggling, it doesn't even seem to struggle. It just starts to pull it down. At this point, you see one of the cannon deck windows opens up, and one of the creatures puts its face in to stare. Zendikar goes, "Die, you ugly bastard!" Cannon just completely obliterates this thing's head.
Nice.
As it just falls into the water, and you see its body disintegrate into an inky black substance.
Gonna get an oil spill in the water.
Alright, at this point, the ship's sails begin to furl as the anchor is being brought up. The creature is going to try and swipe. Actually, no, it can't swipe you. They do manage to bring the gangplank down, and one of them manages to climb up it before the ship begins to move. It gets onto the deck. I need an initiative roll from you.
Alright.
Against the Aj Mahal.
Oh, the Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
7 again. Why is my initiative always 7?
Fuck,
Oh,
I just
actually,
spilled water all over myself.
or 8. It was supposed to be +5, but 8 still.
Spilled water all over myself. Give me a second. The Aj Mahal.
Alright.
Sorry, it's the Aj Mahali, but yeah, that's the name of their tribe. So as it gets onto the deck of the ship, standing at its 15-foot tall height as the ship is moving, it looks down towards you and you see its mask suddenly pulses. Its body, by the way, is not tan skin like you think a Native American's would be. It's completely pitch black dark. And it looks at you, and as it does, it stares. Its face almost seems to turn. I need you to make a wisdom save for me.
That's the best one. 19.
19. As it stares, everything suddenly starts to spiral into this tunnel of just multicolors. And you can just see that mask starting to pulse and move towards you before you shake out of it, and you completely resist the effect. It was a hypnotic pattern spell, basically. So go ahead. At this point, it is going to stay about 15 feet away from you, but get closer to you. It's now your turn.
Okay. I don't know if these things have nightmares, but Thogg is going to attempt to sort of peer into this thing's mind and create its greatest fear of casting Phantasmal Killer. If you want, I'll post a description for that in the
General chat, yes.
make sure I'm not. Okay. So it must make a wisdom save, just like I did. And the DC is 15.
So the creature is immune to frightened.
Okay.
So the effect technically can't take place because it frightens them first, and then they start to make the save.
Okay.
I believe that's how that works. Actually, no, it doesn't say a creature that's immune to frightened is immune to this. Okay, yeah, no. So it still has to make the save, but it just won't be frightened. That's the problem.
That's okay.
It succeeds the save. It rolled like a 27.
Okay.
So as you
Well,
go ahead.
actually, never mind. He doesn't have any bonus actions.
Yeah. So as you try to cast this fear into the creature's mind, you try to peer into their mind. All you hear is, and feedback hits you, and you have to shut your mind out from his before it deals enough damage to you, or deals any damage to you. So does that end your turn?
Then Thog will sort of grit his teeth, draw his scimitar, and just stare this thing down and get ready to fight it.
Just so you know, you don't know what the new one does, and technically you have to try to attune to it to get its effects. But even if it's not attunable,
Yeah, that's fine. Just
so are you drawing the new one or other ones?
the new one.
All right, you pull the new one out and you hold it, and the creature is then going to stare at you. At this point, you look up towards who's steering your ship, and you see standing there Captain Blackwater. A few bandages across his face and a sling across his left arm. Is starting to steer the ship, and he looks down and goes, "It's been a while. What the fuck is that thing? Ugh."
We'll have time to be reunited later.
All right, kill that thing, please. By the way,
Try.
you've technically gotten a long rest besides for what you spent during, because you've spent like 8 hours. But even though you're doing hard manual labor, I'll allow it because you're not in combat for right now. But anyways,
Okay.
so if you want to do that and then get rid of the spell you just used, that's fine.
Okay.
As well as the 3 force damage you took, but
After yelling, I'm trying, Thog will say, actually, you know what? I usually win. I'll kill it.
the creature's going to stare at you now, and seeing that it didn't work the first time, you see its body very slender, moves very fast, and it makes what seems like it's going to make a slap at you when its fingers almost turn into these crescent-like sides as it goes to rake across you with one hand. 15 does not hit you. It goes to slash you, and you just take a single step back as it takes its other hand and brings it up and does a slash downwards. Mind you, it's still 15 feet away from you, and that one does hit.
Okay.
Okay. You take 22 points of slashing damage as it strikes into you, and you just feel your chest cavity just starts to bleed as blood spurts out.
Okay,
Is what it seems
It was
to
20
towards you. 22.
22, okay.
You hear this gurgling sound towards you, almost like speech of a language you're not familiar with. And you start to hear tribal drums from off on the beach as you see what seems to be another one of these creatures adorned in heavy draping robes. For these creatures, it's like large just curtains almost on them that makes it so you can't see the inner sides of their body, which as this thing stands, it has nothing covering its body. It's this large, spindly creature that seems to bend over itself, even at its 15-foot height. You can see its spinal column on its back, not visibly out of its skin, but just through its skin. It's that skinny, and that seems to carry over through all of them. The strange one that you see is covered in robes, has these feathers coming off its mask. Its mask is almost like a woman who's in a distraught's face. You see many different colors adorning this creature. As they step out, they have this large staff that they're holding in one hand. It's very gnarled, and it's almost the size of like a tree trunk as they're carrying it with them. And you could see another one behind them beating on these bongo drums that are attached to them as they're walking out with them. And you start to see the ones on the beach are starting to have this glowing aura surround them as the drum gets closer to them. Anyways, it's your turn.
Spell or now? Okay, Thogg is going to step forward 10 feet and begin swinging. He's actually going to like swing once at it from the front and then sort of try to get around it and then make the second attack at its back of its legs.
Okay. You go for a strike first.
Yep. Oh, is there a bonus on that scimitar at all?
None that you would get because you haven't attempted to attune to
Okay.
it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, natural one. Okay.
So as you go to strike him, you feel the weapon pulling against you almost like a tide. And as you go to strike him, you feel a heavy tide like an ocean pull you 10 feet as you go almost off the edge of the gangplank, but manage to catch yourself. Like an ocean wave just hit you. But there's nothing here.
Well, he's not figuring that out. He's going for another attack.
Alright, you technically stand up freely, and you rush back towards its backside this time to go for another slash. Go ahead.
Alright, that one was a 25.
25. That hits. That's technically a critical hit.
Okay. So...
Actually, no, technically that's not a critical hit. Their AC is 17. I'm stupid.
6 plus 6 damage.
6 damage?
Yeah.
Okay, this is slashing?
Yes.
Okay. So as you slash into him, the blood spurts out, but it turns into this mist of blackness that just dissipates.
And this sucks. He's not a dual wielder anymore, so now I have no bonus actions.
Nope.
Oh wait, no, I guess I can give myself Bardic Inspiration as a bonus action.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to. How do you inspire yourself?
He is going to, after failing to use the sword the first time, and then sort of taming it, I guess, the second time, he's going to focus on the blade and sort of look at his reflection in it and just think about all the battles he's won with a blade just like this one.
The second time, you jump up and slash down into like where its spine should be, and you feel very little resistance to its body. Not enough to like give it the ability to like resist slashing damage, but as you slash through it, it almost feels like a torrent wave is pulling your body downwards and pulling it into the strike. The first one, when you swung it out to the right to get ready, and it just pulled you that way, it seemed. Like an ocean wave. This way, it seems like you have pushed it downwards, and the heavy wave pulled you with it downwards with your strike. As you look into it, you see yourself reflected in the blade, and you feel inspired by having tamed the blade for this strike. Anyways, its turn. It's going to turn around. It's going to take a bonus action to... Actually, no, because this one is technically not one of those ones. It's not Ashmahali of the higher caliber. It's a normal one who's trying to prove itself. But yeah, anyways, it's going to look down to you. And it's going to just take its hand, and you see it's going to make 2 more strikes at you within 5 feet of it. So... Okay, that's a hit. Not a critical, though. And that is not a hit. That's a 13. As it strikes down the first time, you're staring into the blade, and you look up, and you take a step back, but it slashes you again. You take 24 points of slashing damage. And then it goes for a second one to stab you in the gut, but this time you jump on top of its hand and push it to the ground. Well, its hand to the ground.
Thogg will insult it in Orcish. I don't know any Orcish insults.
It's fine. Okay. It's now your turn. The ship has moved quite a bit away from shore, and you do see that other one, the one that was holding the staff, is looking towards you, and they put their hand out, and you can start to see rudimentary natural magics about to be cast. You can't tell what kind of magic it is because you're an arcane caster, but you can see this half circle of green energy built into the air with a slash straight through it at a horizontal line, and then there's a circle where on the very right side of that line.
That doesn't seem good.
Yeah, it doesn't seem good. And you can see the tree trunk that they're holding, the staff, is starting to glow with green energies, and those energies are starting to tether out like a frayed rope and starting to wrap into this strange arcanic pattern made in the air. You get the feeling it's going to take another 2 turns or so, because it seems almost completed, but it's your turn.
Well, for now, I gotta get this guy out of my face, so 2 more attacks with the brand new scimitar.
Okay.
First one is a miss. The second
What's your
one
roll?
is
What's
it was a oh true it was a 9.
9. So you pull it up again, forgetting that it almost feels like an ocean wave you're holding, and it just pulls you like 10 feet into the air. You're like, oh, as you take a slash down at it. Go ahead and roll for your next
Okay,
one.
the slash down is a natural 20, so
you could
27.
have added your bardic inspiration to your attack roll, right?
Yeah, but I'm saving that for other things.
And a natural 20, 27, that is technically a
Yep.
double crit, so go ahead and roll damage,
And-
and we're going to
And I'm spending another bardic inspiration to do one of his blade flourishes, so this will do.
So roll all your damage, and then we'll and add your modifier, and then we'll multiply it by 4.
7, so it's D8. And I also add the number rolled to my AC for until the next turn. Awesome. Okay, so here I'll just do it like this. Just think this should work. Oh, and then that's plus. Wow.
Ugh.
Plus 4, so 6 is the total there.
6 times 4 is 24. So as you pull up and you begin to fall down and getting ready to slash down, if you'd like to describe how you kill this thing, please.
I'm assuming
they
he.
deal damage, they don't have a lot of health.
Yeah. He's gonna sort of try and split it down the middle like the Red Sea with his new title sword and watch it melt away into a little puddle.
As you pull down, the heavy force of a wave comes down with you as you strike through the creature. As you pull down, you hit into its mask, and there's these sparks that come off at anime fight style as you're pushing all your weight into it, and eventually the mask breaks in 2. As you cut down, you see its body as its mask breaks. As you start to slash through it, starts to turn to mist as you land on the ground, cutting a little bit into the ship like butter almost, but pulling the sword out. The 2 parts of the mask fall to the ground next to you, onto the sides of the ship. The wooden mask. Are you there?
Oh, I didn't realize my mic got muted somehow. That will be all Thogg does for that turn.
All right. Well, you just killed it. I just
Yeah.
described it being killed, so
Okay. Well, isn't there still? Okay.
they're not on the ship though. So
Okay.
as the
Well
ship-
then, gangplank.
All right. As the ship is moving, you manage to pull the gangplank up, and you look over and you see the creature finishes its spell and it points forward. I need to see the range of this spell to see if you would be within range.
We will.
As the creature finishes its spell, Jesus fucking Christ! These guys can't stop texting me. You're not within range. They finish casting this. Actually, hold up. Is there a better spell here that I could cast? No, I was already planning this. You see them cast the spell, and you see this sickly green ray shoots out towards your ship, and just barely at the very edge of the ship misses. It seems to stop just before hitting the ship. You see a few of the individuals on the shore raise these spectral lances and like chuck them, but they don't hit the ship as you begin to pull away from the area, having collected the materials necessary to repair your ship, as well as killing a creature that attacked you, gaining a captain and a chest, as well as a new item. As you begin to pull off from shore, a bit of time passes. You speak with Captain Blackwater, who doesn't know how he ended up on that shore, or how he's not as damaged as he should be. And the next few days, make your way to the continent of Agaburst, or what used to be the continent of Agaburst. And with that, that is where we're going to end the session.
All right.